So another interview over this suspension period again. I'm with Martin French today. Martin, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Nick.
Good. So we obviously want to talk a little bit about your role at the club and how things are going and all that. So most people who watch this will be familiar with you from the club, but for those who don't, just a bit of background. Can you kind of tell us how you got involved with the club and how you got into your current role with the supporters club as well?
Well, it was probably coming up to 10 years ago. I'd lived in Basingstoke for 30 years and had never been to a game. I'd driven past the Camrose. And then one cold Tuesday night, I decided to venture down and walked around the ground, enjoyed it. Started coming a couple more times on my own over the next season. And then suddenly started bringing my son along with his curly blonde hair. People used to speak to him and say hello to him. And then basically I started finding friends as such. Then I met two great friends of mine at the time, Jim Gould and the late John Turner. They asked me to reform the supporters club because it had been sort of shut down for a year or so. And I decided to try and do that as such. We got the supporters club off and running again. Started to build the membership a little bit, and at that time, it was around Mr. Razak's time that he was starting to leave he was trying to shut the ground down and move us to the old Down Common. Just carried on going to games, and then basically the first night of the community club meeting, we were there and we were discussing things, and I think it was Alan Turvey, or Steve Williams, who actually sort of invited me that night to come on the board. I was a little bit apprehensive at the time because I didn't really know enough people at the time, but I decided to take the plunge, and sort of 4 years on, this is where I am. I'm just standing for re-election, by the way, which is a bit more funny, but so I just love most people who do know me, I go to every game, home and away. In that 4 years when I joined the community club, I started to do things for the club around social media, the club website, the fans forum. I started to do my fundraising, which is probably my biggest job that I do. I was program editor for a year. I was involved, or sort of led the clubhouse fund raffle. It's numerous things as such. I do the 200 club. I run that for 2-3 years, and the money that was raised from that, I run the Lucky Seven competition, which raises quite a few £1,000s for the club. I sort out away travel. Used to do away travel. Used to take fans by minibus to games. Unfortunately, that's now not cost effective for most teams by minibus. I sell season tickets for the last 2-3 years. I've been selling season tickets, meeting people, selling them. I do match day tickets now as well. Now we're back at Winklebury, and I just do other things along. There's a lot of jobs around there that I do. I deal with fans. When I'm at games, people contact me, ask me questions. I take questions to the board. I try and help them out whenever I am. So I'm just sort of that voice in between the supporters and the supporters club and the actual member, the board, community club board. I'm that sort of. I'm not trying what the word is as such, but I try and help fans get their information that they would need to know.
I mean, you've named so many different things there. Did you imagine on that first Tuesday night that you'd end up doing so many very different things for the club?
I'd say that Tuesday night, I just enjoyed the atmosphere, the fact that you could walk around the ground with no policeman, no one telling you what you could do. Because I'm a Chelsea fan, lifelong Chelsea fan, so the restrictions you have there. And I just enjoyed it. And until I joined the supporters club and started getting that back up and running, I didn't think I was going to take on all these extra jobs. And it is a 24/7 job. People might think it's not, but I get calls at 6 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, text messages from people, and it's tough. It's tough, and if anyone who's been on this community club board and has been around the club for the last 4 years, the struggles that the club has had it's been a challenge. You think you're going to improve one week, and there's good news one week, and then suddenly you get hit in the teeth again, and you get knocked down again. But you have to get up, and hopefully now we're back in Basingstoke, things will be on the up.
That's been the big news off the pitch is the move back to Basingstoke and into the new ground at Winklebury. How much work went on in the background to get that done, and what kind of a difference does it make, both in terms of for the fans and for the club?
Well, I think it's massive. Winchester, although they were very helpful, it was not ideal. It wasn't cost effective, and to get the amount of work which went in the background, and there's a number of people involved who did that. But without one person, I will have to say, Steve Williams. He's working around the background, and his financial support. We wouldn't be back in Basingstoke. There was a number of people who got involved in that and helped us, but it was a big challenge. Again, you're still, and we're still fighting, Mr. Razak and Bazron to try and get what we deserve, and that's an ongoing battle, and that's part of the new job that I'm taking on now, which is to save the Camrose or an equivalent second stadium. That's a big challenge, and it's a big drive we'll be looking at next year.
So given all that, when that first game was played at Winklebury, was it a sense of relief for you, or did it feel more like...
Relief. Massive relief. To get fans back, not having to travel, to see fans who were season ticket holders the season before but never went down to Winchester, to see those people come back, and new fans, and then it was a different atmosphere. It was a joyous moment, really, when that first game, even though the weather was awful. It was a great day for us, I think, and the community club to get us back there. And unfortunately we lost, but that's we've been through a few losses over the previous years.
Yeah, and the tickets for those first two games sold out so quickly. The capacity was set at 400 because of COVID, and even I think at the Camrose in the last couple of years, the attendances were around 350-ish for most games. So that must have been really good to see that you could sell out that many straight away.
Oh no, I think we would have sold, and an ex-hold would have sold. I think we would have sold 600 easily, comfortably that day. There was a lot of people sort of contacting me for tickets and things, and it's we could have easily sold, and there would have been more away support for that game. The Tottenham teams, Tottenham fans, they were limited to a number of tickets, so 600 would have been an easy target, I think, maybe more. But it was a good day. Good day.
Sorry. How much of that do you think is down to it being a new thing for the club to be back, and how much do you think it can be sustained, either for this season or going into future seasons?
I think a lot depends on the pitch, on how we play on the pitch. Fans will always come and watch a winning team. That's a given. And after what's been a fairly awful sort of 3 or 4 years up until this season, it's good. I think a good winning team will get fans back in. There's new fans who are coming all the time, and some of the older fans are starting to come back now that we're back in Basingstoke. So I think 400, certainly while we're playing, I would say is a minimum. Obviously with COVID restrictions it will be anyway, but I think once that restriction's lifted, maybe in sort of March or whenever it is as such, I think 400 will be a bare minimum that I think we'll get, especially if we're winning on the pitch.
You mentioned, of course, new fans coming in. It must be huge being a community club to be back in the town, to be able to attract new fans who maybe weren't around before to come and enjoy the club and get involved.
Yeah, it is. There's new families coming where possibly they might have gone the year before, in Winchester, but probably wouldn't want to travel down there. And there's a lot more local fans. There's some fans that I'm aware of who live in Winklebury now, who start coming down to games as such, and that's great. It's not just about our football club. It's about trying to regenerate Winklebury as well.
And of course, you say it's ultimately about the performances on the pitch. So far this season, the start has been good. We've been winning games. It's a big contrast you alluded to the last couple of years. I'm sure it's been great for you all to watch.
Yeah, it's about time, but I mean, the last 3 or 4 years we've gone through relegation after relegation, and as many people know, I go to every game home and away, and going to some of the away games have been like the Rocky Horror Show. It's been dreadful. And for this season, to turn it around the way we have done from day one, Slimbridge, it's been brilliant. And yeah, it's what Basingstoke deserves. It deserves a good team on the pitch, and that a lot of that must go down to Dan Brownlee. He's got rid of some of the older players last year. We've got a much class, quicker team. The players he's brought in have got really good skills. He's built a team camaraderie around it as well, sort of stuff. They're all good friends, it seems, and it's a shame that we got shut down at the time.
You mentioned camaraderie, and team spirit seems to be a big thing that he's really focuses on when putting the squad together. How much can that leak through into the fans and build up, regardless of how the team's doing, build up more support for the team?
Oh, I think it does. I mean, when we were at Winchester, the players there who are still there this season, when they scored a goal, you can see the emotion, but it means a lot to them to see the fans actually enjoy a goal and things like that as such. And people like Scott Armsworth and one or two others, Harrison Cliff, who's still here from last year, that you can see how much they've improved under Dan Brownlee and Aaron. And it's great. And there is that team camaraderie, and they take it, they know the fans want us to win. And you can see that emotion between the players and the fans. It's really good to see. And it's not just behind the goal, it's down the side as well, where fans stand as well. It's a good all-ground type atmosphere there at the moment.
It's all good stuff. When I talk to Dan or any of the players on these, they'll always talk about keeping their feet on the ground, not getting carried away, and that was the start. For you as the fans, do you let yourself start to dream a little bit when we've been winning games, scoring goals?
Well, I'm a pessimist by heart, so it's very difficult for me to be that. Oh, we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to do this all the time. But so far, we're looking good. We look good. Like we're on top of the game as such, and the players, they perform well. A little bit more luck here and there, and I think we would. The season could be a really good season. Obviously, we've got a small squad. And that might be tough, but obviously the shutdown has helped us regain some of the fitness for some of the 2 or 3 of the players for when we restart. But I'm hopeful. I've not seen a team this good, this young and this good as such since I've been watching Basingstoke.
High praise. I'm sure that'll be good fun to hear. We're obviously as well. We're still dependent on what happens with COVID and when restart and all that. But yeah, it's been a great start to the season, as you say. You mentioned a little bit earlier about standing for re-election and for the AGM. Can you give us a bit of an update on what's happening there at the moment and where that's all at?
I can't actually give you too much information at the moment. I'm not involved in that side of it. I've sort of put my nomination in. There's a few other people standing for the nomination. There's 6 places up for the for the board as such. There'll be an announcement over the next few days, I hope, to say who's standing. And then at some point, I believe around the 28th of December, I believe the actual statements and the nomination forms for voting will be going out, I believe. It's all still got to be confirmed, but that's where we are. But it's good to have a proper election this time. Previous years, we've all been sort of voted back in without, and it's good to actually say that there's a choice this year, and you need to make it means the community club members can actually have a true voice.
That position as well, is that sort of what you expected it to be? Has that been something that you were really keen on before, to be involved in the club at that sort of a level?
Yeah, yes, I think so. Yeah, the club. I breathe the club 24/7. So the only way you can really get involved, you can volunteer. It's always welcome to help us as such. But if you're on the board, you can actually understand the day-to-day goings on, the good side of the things when things work, and there's always a bad side when things don't work. But yeah, I want to be on the board. It's something that I can then focus my my day-to-day work for the club and supporters club. And I like to, I like getting involved. Once I get involved in things, I like to give it 100%.
Brilliant. That's all the questions I had. It's been great to talk to you and hear from you about how you think everything's going. Thanks a lot for your time.
Yeah. Have a good Christmas, everybody, and all the other fans listening. Cheers. Thank you.